think we all been there. Just the heart shattering, the deep grief, the feeling of emptiness after a heartbreak. And I would say that heartbreaks is probably one of the worst things that someone can go through in their lifetime. It's interesting because people can go one or two ways. It can either just be something that haunts you for the rest of your life, or you can use it as a huge catalyst to become the next best version of yourself. And here are the ways that you can actually do this. So after you guys separate, you're literally going through a really deep detox, a chemical detox from your partner. And it says that it's kind of like, science says that it's like weaning off really hard drugs. That's why it's so difficult. So it's very important to take space when you are separating from each other. Because if you start to text each other again, you start to see each other before that detox happens, you can fall back into the same patterns that you used to. Now, if you have the space to be with yourself and to be with those waves, something interesting starts to happen. The energy that you used to give your partner starts to come back to you, right? You start to bring the energy back to yourself. You start to do the things. I can give an example. Like when I'm into relationships, sometimes I don't do things as much as I would like. I don't go hang out with friends. I'm not taking care of myself. It's like this kind of abandoning myself kind of tends to happen. So there's an opportunity to really bring that energy and to start creating energy for yourself. Start taking care of your body. Start going out with friends. Start going out to nature. And it's really this reconnection with yourself that is a really beautiful process. And it's kind of like coming back home. You also have the opportunity to really self-reflect. When you're away from a partner, you really get to see where you didn't show up, right? If you really reflect, like, man, where did I not show up in that relationship? Where did my partner not really show up in that relationship? You really get to start to see the trauma bond that tends to happen, right? You know, we all have certain parts of ourselves that pop up in relationships. And it's like, wow, like for example, it's like, wow, I really allowed myself to not stand up for myself. I really got to process, like, man, like I really didn't stand up for myself when this happened. And I really get to reflect on the wounds that were playing out that weren't really doing me any favor, right? It's like abandoning myself and shutting down and all these things. And it's a really big reflection to start to do some healing work on yourself so that you can evolve, so that when you do go into the next relationship, you're not doing the same things over and over again. And it's interesting, grieving on the emotional frequency scale is one of the lowest emotional frequencies, meaning that it's probably one of the worst feeling emotions that you can possibly feel. And there's this interesting quote that says, I believe it's by Rumi, that the heart must be broken over and over again in order for it to open. There's something that happens with heartbreak, with the grieving, that grieving process. It feels like, I think exactly what that quote says. It's like when you actually allow yourself to feel the pain and the heartbreak and the grief and the sadness and the anger, all of that, it feels like you are almost gifted a new heart. And a heart that has a bigger capacity to love, a bigger capacity to just become a better human being. And I don't know about anybody else, but when there's this deep reflection around heartbreak, it feels like there's a deeper sense of love for myself. Every time I go through this process, I learn something new about myself. I learn the traumas that were playing out in the relationship. I find ways to come back to myself more. And through this process, I've been going to the beach a lot. I've been working out more. I've been hanging out with friends more. And it's like, wow, like I can still create a life for myself that is fulfilling outside of my relationship. Like I don't have to be in a relationship to have a fulfilling life. And I think for me personally, that I got a lot of fulfillment out of romantic relationships and depended on romantic relationships to get a lot of fulfillment, which isn't a bad thing, but also I was very codependent of me. So it's been really interesting to come back to myself and just go through the same process. And yeah, I hope this story helped anyone that's listening to this.